Good afternoon. Been a lovely, lovely session during the day. Amar's done a fantastic job, but some change of places and some change of faces. Breakout session happening out there, the likes of Airtel speaking about it, Spinny, Go Mechanic, and of course the session on BFSI. Request some of you to start moving to the other side. Really powerful sessions there as well. Over to you, Ashwin.
Thanks. All right. Thanks everyone for joining us. Good afternoon. And apologies, we are running behind schedule, and yeah, we'll try to make up for the lost time as soon as possible. My name is Ashwin. I lead marketing at Moengage, and I have two very interesting panelists today. And we are going to be talking about personalization. The previous session you heard from our friends at WhatsApp and Gupshup, and of course Moengage, and and hopefully we'll hear from the practitioner's perspective in terms of beyond the sales pitch of what's really important from a personalization perspective. So I have Ashish from Home Credit and Krish from Adda 52. So very sort of interesting, different sort of backgrounds and brands, but I will let you introduce, gentlemen, both of you yourself.
Thanks. So, hi, my name is Ashish, and I lead marketing for Home Credit. Home Credit which is into small finance, okay, for new to credit and kind of urgent unsecured loans. I mean, just to give you a perspective, we kind of process almost about 8 to 10K loans per day we give out. And to be able to give out 10K loans per day, we kind of receive almost about some 18 to 20K applications, all digital, 100% digital journeys from end-to-end perspective. And I think if I look at the timing, all this get processed in almost some 4 to 5 hours, because of typically your volumes start picking up in post-lunch session and end by the end of the day. On a Diwali day, on a single day, we process somewhere around 30K plus loans. Wow. In a single day. In fact, per minute, we were processing almost 1,000 plus applications, concurrent applications at one point in time.
Wow, yeah? That's amazing scale.
That's what we lead.
Yeah, hi everyone. My name is Krishnendu Guha. I head the marketing and revenue function for adda52.com. Those who are not aware about adda52.com, we are one of the leading online poker sites in India. And now the challenge that we face right now is poker being not native in India, unlike any other real money gaming like Rummy for that matter. But poker is something which has originated in the West. From US, and you might have seen in all your James Bond movies or any movies that you see, Casino Royale for that matter, it was the game that was played was poker. So we are the online site for that where online poker is played.
If possible, could we sort of reduce the intensity of these lights a bit? It's a bit too harsh on the faces. Thank you.
There is hardly anything to see in three of us, at least in me. I don't know about rest too.
Yeah, we're looking all bright and clear for the
any
audience.
Any amount of light can't make me any good looking. So, I mean, it's not only light, you need to do a lot more than that to make me look any good.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you, gentlemen, for the introduction. So let's get started. Again, we want to sort of go a little bit beyond from the usual things that people read about or people learn about when it comes to personalization, right? Everybody talks about removing data silos and blah, blah, blah and all of that, which I think most people are aware of anyway. But Krish, starting with you, right? And then I think Ashish, can you elaborate a bit on one of the most, what you would consider as one of the most interesting or a successful sort of an attempt at personalization in your career? And why do you consider that to be so?
So, before I explain that, I think it's very important for us to understand what exactly is personalization. And I would like to tell you a very short story around that, which is actually a real life story. So it happened with me, and that's how the whole concept of personalization was like so important, and it came out very clearly
Oops. Is there some?
That's the environment noise
Yeah.
which happens when you personalize.
So it happened. Me and my wife used to shop from a retail outlet online, and just before our anniversary, I received an email from that company stating that, dear so and so, your anniversary is after one week, and we would like you to impress your wife. I was like, okay, let me read on. So they mentioned that we have a very special trouser for your wife, which is blue in color, which is probably your wife's favorite color, and we have already added into this cart with the size. And along with that, they mentioned that we have also added a top, which is white in color, which would go perfectly with that. And if you buy these two, you will also get a scarf, blue color, which is free. I was like, and obviously all of these were added. Now, first I was a little bit taken aback. Okay, the site knows more about my wife than me, specifically in terms of preferences, obviously dates. But then when I started adding the dots, I realized they have my, somehow they collected my, obviously wife, and they connected through the marriage date and everything. And they also curated those products which are within buying range. That's the level of personalization that they did. And eventually, it led to that sale as well. And the way the communication was done, and that's how I realized that how important is the personalization factor here, because so many data points are actually collected and put together in a form where a user feels elated, and it's so related. I think in the previous session, someone was mentioning about that. You have to make a communication which is very related, and I think nothing more related to this than the experience that we had. So that's how personalization was, you can say, level of personalization that introduced, and from that, it was very essential. I realized that what level of data collection that you require to eventually get to that level and compile everything in a format and then present it to the user so that the user doesn't have any option rather than to go for it.
That was actually very interesting.
Yeah.
But Ashish, coming to you, right? Any specific examples of, again, personalization that you have sort of carried out in your career, which you're personally proud of? And can you also talk a little bit about some of the challenges that you might have faced on the journey to that level of success, right?
Well, I can talk about challenges more than I can talk about successes. I think as a marketer, one thing I have learned, if you are not failing enough, I mean, there are very little chances that you will succeed enough. Yeah, failure is guaranteed. Success has a probability. So that's for sure. I mean, if I were to just condense what you said, at the end of the day, as marketers, you are supposed to today, it is very, very important that you are able to bring out the differentiated value proposition for people. Yeah. You need to be able to understand your customer's pain, create your proposition which kind of helps him gain, and then wrap it around into a wrapper and present it to him or her when they want to kind of consume, when they want to consume. It has become a lot more about them than about businesses. Okay, I can give you two examples, one from my previous one from this one, some failures, some successful.
Sure.
So, as in, I was heading the marketing for Generali, which is Italian brand for insurance, life insurance, that too. So I used to go to living people and say, you give me money, and when you are dead, probably I'll come back and give you money. Probably I'll give it back. And today I kind of give it to living people and hope that they will give it back before they die. So that's my businesses. That's how I've changed my life or the businesses. Now, generally, one of the things at insurance, what we figured out is that we kind of collect a lot of data. Okay, data like when you are filling up a form, I even ask you what is your kidney size. Okay, and before I give you an insurance, anybody who has taken a life insurance would know that. What do we do with that data? I mean, it remains in one corner. So we did for one of the products, which was a child education product. Okay, and in insurance, the interesting part is you don't sell insurance once. You sell insurance 12 times a year for 20 years next. Because of every time it's coming on renewal, the customer has a choice not to pay. And he or she will not pay and not renew and will cease to exist as your customer. So I will have to sell him again and again. The distributor or the agent will probably contact for the first time, and then it's all recovery methods. How do you change that recovery to creating an experience? We picked up one very simple example because of I had child's date of birth, and typically when you buy an insurance, you typically create a goal. Oh, I want my kid to be a doctor, I want a kid to be an engineer, I want a kid to be XYZ, whatever. I want to send him to study abroad, and that's the reason we are picking up. We picked up these 3 data variables, created a complete journey, automated. Okay, and it is like every time renewal is coming 90 days before, this journey will head back or at a opportune time. So one is 90 days, one is before your kid's birthday or at a time. It'll come back and it'll ask you questions simple like that. Hey, you have kind of, your dream is to reach 20 lakhs, you have reached 2 lakh rupees. Okay, so you wanted your kid to be a lawyer, it's like his first semester fees paid. Now next semester fees is due. You are just about that away from your goal. Rather than making it a conversation about very, very plain that you renew, otherwise if you don't renew, it will cease to exist. You are making it personalized and saying you are this away from your dream. Your dream vacation is just this much away. You have taken a policy and said that, hey, I want to, in our old age, I want to take my family out for a dream vacation. So we had a plan which is called as Big Dreams Plan, which is nothing but a ULIP plan. Okay, it's a very simple ULIP. And typically in ULIP, everybody knows that after 3 years, if you withdraw, you get your principal back and things like that. We wanted to curtail it down. Simple thing. You have saved enough to get a visa now. Now you have saved enough to pay for one side of a trip. Yeah. But you are still away from paying for kind of a local visits and sightseeing there. You have got a sightseeing ticket now and things like that. And we actually saw when I had taken over that portfolio, my T25, which is like people who continue after 2 years, were 67%, and we actually exited over next 3 years. We exited from T25 from 67, it becomes somewhere around 92%.
Wow.
That's a kind of an increment. Currently, I mean, think about it, when I am giving out loans, it's a very simple thing. I need to pick up multiple signals from the phone you are using to apply the loan, to the browser you are using, to the place you are coming from, to the language you have selected, to the creatives you saw, and basis all that I make a decision in terms of what kind of a interest rate I am about to offer to you, to what kind of a product you get, to what kind of a proofs I ask you from before I underwrite an unsecured loan. And this all happens at a runtime basis. So it's not only into communication, it is a lot of times when we are thinking about journeys. It is very interesting if you know. You would have these journeys. In insurance only I faced this. When I had come in, you would create a journey around Father's Day. It will say, I mean, you will create a beautiful, beautiful creative which is going to go on your paid channels, which will say, wish your dad this Father's Day, wish your dad, okay, gift him an insurance. Yeah. You will click there and suddenly open up a journey which has got nothing to do with Father's Day. It'll ask your very simple thing, what is your name? What is this? Oh, 2 minutes back in email you came back and told me, hey Ashish, wish this, and now you're asking me my name. And we did this. It's not that I am holier than thou. I created it more than anything. I mean, when you start to look at, and I only realized when I got that email saying, hey Ashish, gift this insurance to your father, I clicked and it landed back, and I could have carried this parameter over on a simple UTM basis and filled it in the form. I just did not. I mean, all of us receive these emails. In an email, I will say, hey, how are you? All good. You are a valuable customer, and we value you the most. And you click on that, reach on the landing page, it says, who are you? Why the heck have you come here? Wasting my time now. You will become one more bounce on my website. Okay, you have now come to at least tell me your name. Now tell me what is your date of birth. And all this data is available, and we made these mistakes and we corrected it and learned a lot over a period of time. Today, for example, on a cross-sell base, I don't ask these useless questions. You just move ahead. So, I mean, a lot of times, as marketers, we need to think 3 questions which I kind of look into my head. If I'm asking something, is it really, really essential for me to ask? Can I do without it? Today, everybody comes and talks about big data. It has become like a fashion to talk about big data. Whether we like it or not, actually, what matters is small data. Big data is good for ego. Small data is good for business. Because if you really don't need big data, you don't need 1,000 data points. You need 5 information points. And whether we like it or not, information and data are 2 different things. We are actually living in an era of having too much data, very little information. The second thing, whenever you are looking at your data, understand that not every data lives in perpetuity. You have a life to a data. How many times as marketers have we let go of some data? Have we said that this table does no more serves my purpose? I mean, 3 months back, I used to work for Generali. I was into life insurance, and as I said, I was taking money from living people to say that if you die and I'm in a good mood, I'll probably give back. You have all data about me. It has all become useless because if I don't do any more. Now I give money and say, hey, don't die before you pay back. Please, please, please. I mean, even if you had 1,000 data points, I was in a different city, my lifestyle was different, my objectives were different, all they have changed. Have marketers, I still get, I mean, YouTube still shows me Marathi ads, and I never understand Marathi. Not that I was in Bombay, but that does not mean I understand Marathi. I mean, so a very, very simple things where we fail, and we all fail in that ways. Focus on small data. Is the data very essential? Do you have small data? And third, is your customer, or are you resonating with whatever you are creating? Is it resonating, or are you creeping him out? Like you said, I mean, just because of you have data does not mean you need to go around creep out the customer. As insurer, we had so much of data. Trust you me, in COVID, I mean, suddenly we had a treasure trove of data, and we realized, oh, we can create a campaign around and say people, you have a chance to get COVID. And we did a A/B. And trust you me, the only thing which it helped me increase was my vocabulary about abuses in multiple languages. Because the people took time. It was the most engaging campaign. I mean, my engagement.
Not in the right way though.
Right and wrong is a question mark. It was, I mean, my team came back to me, it is the most engaging campaign, which it worked because of we have going and telling people, you have a chance to kind of being there. And then we suddenly realized why the engagement is up. Yeah, and I learned abuses in multiple languages. Trust you me.
That was super interesting, Ashish. And again, I think coming back to you, Krish, right? When we, and again, piggybacking on what Ashish was talking about, like when we talk about personalization, obviously, one of the most difficult parts, and everybody talks about data collection and data and all of that. But in terms of, just like if you sort of peel back that a little bit and talk beyond data, right? Like what are some of the main challenges that you have faced? Because in the audience, there are a lot of marketers who are, sort of getting started on the personalization journey or even thinking about it and thinking about how it can make a difference. So what are some of the things that they should watch out for? Beyond the, of course, collection of data and usage of data and all of that.
To start with, yes, data collection is important, and what Ashish rightly mentioned, that today probably everybody is trying to gather data and create a huge set of big data, but information is missing. So one of the biggest challenges that we have, like I've faced also, that since with this huge amount of data that we have, nobody is actually processing that data into correct information or meaningful information. Now when that doesn't happen, then you end up creating campaigns probably like the one Ashish just mentioned about the COVID. So it's very essential, and see, for everything, if you have enough information to personalize your campaign, that is good enough. Otherwise, if you have some data scientist in your team, so that's also one of the biggest challenges that we have seen, and personally I have seen that how you interpret the data is something which is very important, because not everybody will be able to read the data in a right format, and until and unless that happens, let's say you're working in a team, now within that team, one person understands the data in a certain format, the other person will understand the data in another format. Now, whether that aligns with your company goals or not, or the objective, like the campaign objective that you're driving, that is very crucial. Because for that, you have to first understand what is the goal of your campaign. What do you want to achieve with that campaign, whatever campaign you are running. Now, when you know that, when you are sure that, okay, this is my campaign, this is my goal, this is my objective, now you start mining the data, okay, how personalized I can make. It's not the other way around that, okay, I have 20,000 data, now let me find out all the points and let's create a campaign around that. So that's the other way around. So that's something which I have faced as a challenge, and I think you should also be wary of that. First define your campaign goals and then see what all information is or data is available through which you can process that and create a meaningful insight for your campaign. And second, for your, like any campaign you are running, create a right budget and set success parameters for your budget. So say, because end of the day, when you run a campaign, everybody is going to ask and come and ask you, okay, you ran this campaign, you spent X amount of money, what is the ROI? Now, it's a very interesting question. From a management standpoint, yes, probably they are not looking at the nitty-gritties or the details of the campaign. They are more focused, okay, if I have spent X amount, I need to get 2X return. Now, how do you plan that? That is very important. So, don't run a campaign just for the sake of it. Define clear goals and objectives for your campaigns and set success parameters and define a budget for that, like prior you run that campaign, so that you are in alignment and everybody is in alignment. Okay, this is what I'm going to run, this is what I'm going to get, and this is the amount I'm going to spend. And then eventually you fine tune your campaign along the way as it goes, like there are multiple ways of doing that, and then you reach your goal successfully. That's how I think you should do it.
Awesome, awesome. So, we've got about 7 or 8 minutes, so I'm going to ask one last question, right? And this, considering both of you have sort of different backgrounds, right? I mean, Krish, you've been working in startups and you've seen through the scale-up journey of early stage companies, and Ashish, you've also, you've got a background of working in more sort of traditional enterprises and then helping them through this whole digital personalization and, and
yeah, just
journey.
short of saying you have been from dinosaur age.
I did not say that. But I think would love to understand, right? I mean, Krish, in the audience we have both types, right? We also have marketers and product managers and owners who are sort of in that Series A, Series B digital first startups. And we also have marketers from more established brands. So would love to understand from you, Krish, when someone's looking at the personalization journey and they think about the organization maturity that they are in, how would you sort of help them figure it out, right? I mean, obviously, if you're early stage, to what extent do you do personalization? What is it even realistically possible? Would love to understand that, from your perspective of the organization maturity versus where to even get started.
That's actually a very interesting question because, I believe a lot of you are from startup background. I have handled multiple startups myself. And when you start, you have to start from very basic. For a startup environment, you don't expect a huge amount of money coming in, huge amount of resources coming in. So it's very important to start with the basics. So when you start your campaign or you plan your campaign, what I did, I can share with all of you, is focus on basic segmentation to start with, which is typically a RFM model, recency, frequency, and monetary, and create that model. Now, obviously, a lot of people would ask, okay, like how do I create? It's very simple. You can create it in Excel directly. If you have huge amount of data, you can ask your like a data team guy to prepare that and send it to you in an Excel format. And then you can create your segments there and map it in your journeys. You, at your initial stage, you really do not need an fully automation tool at a starting point. Once you have created like a use case scenario, then only you can go back and talk to your management and say, okay, hey, this is the campaign we ran, this is the journey we followed, this is the data segmentation that we did, which is purely like a basic segmentation for an RFM, and then you show the results. That will actually help you drive or speak to the management and eventually get them on board with your plans. And then they will realize the requirement of an automation tool because you already have a use case in front of you. Otherwise, if you just go, okay, I need this automation tool. Now you don't have any use case. So it's always better to start, and Excel is a very fine tool. Trust me, like I've used in my startup days a lot. I've created segments directly on Excel, and I have run like multiple campaigns directly without any automation tool, and it works fine, as long as obviously for a limited set. Now when you want to scale up, yes, you need that automation. But for a startup stage, I think that's good enough way to start.
Thanks, Krish. So yeah, so when you reach that scale, you buy Moengage, okay. Yeah, anyway, just kidding. But would love to hear from you, Ashish, right? Because you worked in more enterprise, more established brands, and obviously they have a certain way of doing things, and there's legacy systems and legacy process and legacy thinking, and there's a lot of change that needs to bring in, right? So you don't start with a clean slate. If you're a startup, you have the advantage of starting with this clean slate, but obviously you have other constraints. So how do you sort of, if there's a marketer who's like, okay, I'm a manager marketing, or I'm a senior manager, how do you sort of, how do you advise them to sort of get started on this journey? Like, how do you even say that, okay, look, this is how you need to look at things?
Okay. So there are, again, 3 to 4 different places you need to kind of address this, okay? The very first fight in any legacy organization is basically being able to convince people that why you require what you require. I mean, I have worked for an organization which is 180 years old. Generally is 180 years into business. 190 plus now.
They've lived through 2 world wars. It's okay. We don't need personalization.
They have seen
World War dekh liya humne.
Yeah, they have seen everything. They're like, we have seen World War I, we have survived World War II, we have survived COVID. Now what are you trying and telling me? And personalization or not, you create a policy, give it to people, they will buy. I have worked for Hero in India. Selling 6 lakh plus units every month, not having a data of 6, and then you are coming and saying that you need something. We don't even give things in units, we give by truck. You only get a thing as a dealer if you pay in advance, and then you will get a truck. And then you are trying to convince them. So attacking to culture is very first kind of a challenge which you have to deal. And your friend there is use case. What is your business case? If you don't have a business case, don't start. Have fun, read, do whatever you want to do. Don't waste your time. Your business case is the very, very first thing. Find out your allies. In any organization, you will have some allies. You need to create those allies first. And if you can create a financial ally, nothing better than that. Trust you me, as marketers, they are your best friends, even if you don't like them.
Or the worst enemies, depending on how.
I won't want to go there. You never know what goes back to my office. I have to work. Yeah. So they are your best allies after all, and they are good people. You go and they actually see. At the end of the day, try and understand. In a legacy organization, they are winning for last 40, 50, 60 years. You need to be able to, as a marketer, you are not a marketer if you can't create a burning platform. Figure out what is your burning platform, and that burning platform should give you what is your use case, should help you ally, and then if you know your use case, any tool is good which helps you. Don't try to get, a lot of times we try and get into something which has everything. Nothing, I haven't come across a single tool which has everything. Any tool is useless if you don't know what you want. The best of the tool is useless. And a plain Excel, like he said, is good enough if you know what you want. More often than not, use cases. If you can drill down, and I use this in any legacy company this works, and probably should work in startups. You haven't been able to figure out your problem if you can't define your problem in less than 30 seconds. Use this 30-second rule. Your problem should have not more than 2 to 3 variables. If it has more than that variables, you are just mugged up in your head. Cut it down. Bring it to 2 to 3 variable maximum. Define it. Write it down in 1 line. Not even the second. In font 12, not font 9. Use font 12, write down that problem in 1 line, and work on that till you can define that problem, having those 2 variables in that, which should have cause and impact very clearly defined. If you are able to do that, you will only be able to do that much if your understanding of problem is very clear. And if you can understand that problem, make it so simple, you will be able to rally across people with you. You have a burning platform, put a simple tool, because of now you don't have 3,000 variables to deal with, you only have 2 variables, and then go behind it. Show success, and nothing breeds born homie as good as a small success. Don't try to boil the ocean, you won't be able to. Howsoever, even if you are a founder's son, you will not be able to boil the ocean because of in a 20,000, in a 30,000 people strong organization, even a founder is only as strong as he or she is. The moment you start doing that, you will start looking at it. You will start tasting success, and a lot of people will want to be on your boat. And that's the only way you can do that. Because of in a legacy company, it's like you are trying to do a heart replacement on a running person, not a living person. It's Usain Bolt in its full glory of 100 meters, and you as a doctor assigned to do an operation, because of if he is dead, you will anyways not be allowed to do an operation. It's a running business. It's a legacy business which generates 400 million every quarter. And you want to change suddenly of everything which is working by showing a threat of what, 10 years down the line, 15 years down the line? Sorry, it ain't works that ways. You need to probably earn your right to be on table first, and these things give you right on table. Yeah. And then, whenever you are planning a stack, plan for 10 years, but execute for 10 days. Have your 10 days, 15 days, 20 days execution module ready. That helps you bring in and keep churning the success one after another, one after another. And sooner than you realize, you will have a lot more allies. You will have the organization backing you. And legacy or no legacy, the only difference in legacy is that the challenge to be able to integrate your systems, there are a lot more variables out there. And the challenge to address those variables become a little more complicated because of you have a register of history which is there. But you build afresh. I mean, even if you are a startup, how does it matters? One data variable change and suddenly everybody start at ground zero. And that's the benefit which technology builds or brings on the table. Everybody, every day has opportunity to start afresh.
Awesome. Thanks, Ashish. Nothing succeeds like success, yeah? Awesome. Thank you, gentlemen. I think we are on time. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I enjoyed the views. Hopefully the audience enjoyed as well. And we have got very interesting panels coming up as well, so don't go anywhere. Yeah, thank you very much.
You anyways can't see audience, so I mean, even if they did not, if we can
show them your appreciation, folks.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks, yeah.
Thank you.